the Fancounters Celebrity Podcast, number 174. Coming to you from nowhere near the entertainment capital of the world, this is the Fancounters Celebrity Podcast.
You were like the carrot top of interviewers.
Wow, how disappointing was that question?
You did not just ask me that.
Well, that's a big question.
Never mind, I'm done. I'm not doing the show.
Wow, I can't believe it.
I'm telling you, I'm hooked.
Nick.
Yeah, he's so awesome. He's still a good friend of mine.
Welcome to the Fancounters Celebrity Podcast. My name's Nick.
And I'm Tracy.
Follow us on social media. Go to Instagram and look for Fancounters Live. You can go to Facebook, search Fancounters. And also, if you are hearing this podcast, you can go watch this podcast. Go to YouTube and look for Fancounters Podcast, and you'll be able to see us do the show.
And watch, do you think people are going to want to see us?
I think they will, because
so?
I'm wearing my Brewer jersey because the baseball season is underway.
That's a good thing.
The Brewers are playing ball. You got your hat on.
I got my hat on.
You're ready to go.
I am. I'm glad the baseball season finally got underway under a normal-ish full season. Yeah. Let's put it that way.
Now, the Brewers have opted, because we're in Milwaukee, as everybody knows, to go with a 25% capacity. And it's funny, I look back on opening day, and I saw the stadium, and even though it was a capacity crowd, it was only like 12,000 people. It looked like nothing.
It's got to be so scattered, and
it is.
It's like empty looking, right?
And I don't know with 12,000 people even how they decided what the pods would be, what seats they would assign. I haven't gone to a game yet. I'm interested in trying it once I really know that it's going to be a fun time. You don't want to pay $40 to get harassed for an entire game about, you're not drinking at this exact second and your mask is down. Well, it was just up,
I get a kick out of the people who do the whole mask thing, and their mask is not, when they complain about it, and then they're not wearing their mask properly, so it's underneath their nose. So the bottom of their mask is right here.
Yeah.
Well, your mask is supposed to be, if you want to get technical, it's supposed to be
above your nose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, Texas Rangers are the only team in Major League Baseball who opted not to have a capacity limit at their games. For opening day, they were at 100%. 40,000 people were there.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty rare, actually.
Yeah.
Britney Spears is in the news this week. She is defending the fact that a manager or somebody on her team did not write the response to the documentary that's being featured on Hulu. Have you seen the documentary on Britney Spears?
I have not.
I have not yet either.
I'm not something that I'm jumping towards, going to watch.
I always wanted to see her live, though. Her music and just her performance. I felt like I like to see very iconic performers perform. I went and saw Madonna. I've seen Rod Stewart a couple of times, Barry Manilow, Neil Diamond, Paul McCartney.
Ooh,
so I've seen all these people live just to have that experience, to know what it was like, to say I was a part of that person's history.
Yeah, I respect, the talent she has, and that she's a talented person, and her, her following that she's got. I just was never really a fan. So I can understand where you're coming from. No, it's pretty cool.
Well, there's a documentary now on Hulu, and so you can watch it and kind of judge for yourself. But Britney Spears took to social media, on Instagram specifically, and said that she was disappointed with her portrayal in the documentary. She said that she was, here, try and find it here.
Don't they, when somebody's doing a documentary, don't you usually have some kind of say in the documentary?
Yes and no. It depends if it's sponsored by the people who are a part of that story. You could make a documentary on me and say kind of any history you want, and it might be a partial history or not, and I can't do anything about it. It's your view of what the situation is. So it depends if they're making it with her input or not.
So I could make things up about you and just say this is fact, right?
You do anyway. When I'm making my documentary on Heather O'Rourke, I'm using the family to make sure the facts are straight.
Correct.
So there's nothing in there that they're going to be able to say, that's not right, that's not how it happened, because I'm using their input and their feedback to make a great story about Heather. Now, Britney Spears had this to say about her documentary. She says, "My life has always been very speculated, watched and judged my whole life. For sanity, I need to dance every night of my life to feel wild, human, and alive. And good for her, because she's now, what, in her late 30s or something like that?
I thought she's in her 40s already.
Maybe she is.
Yeah.
I'm not dancing.
Yeah.
I'm putting that out there. It takes a lot of strength to trust the universe with your real vulnerability, because I've always been so judged, insulted, and embarrassed by the media. And I still am to this day. As the world keeps on turning and life goes on, we still remain so fragile and sensitive as people. I didn't watch the documentary, but from what I did see of it, I was embarrassed by the light they put me in. I cried for 2 weeks. Now, this is what I don't get. She cried for 2 weeks on something she hasn't seen.
Wow.
If you're going to be that upset about it, maybe you should watch it.
And I will make a correction.
Yeah?
She's 39.
30.
So
Thank you.
I was close.
Oh, I said late 30s.
Yeah, I was close.
So that I don't understand. She says, I still cry sometimes. I do what I can in my own spirituality with myself to try and keep my own joy, love, and happiness. Every day dancing brings me joy. I'm not here to be perfect. Perfect is boring.
Yeah, I just don't understand how you can cry if you haven't seen it.
I don't know, but perfect's not boring. I'm perfect and I'm not boring. I'm here to pass on kindness, she says.
You're perfect?
In my mind,
Okay.
yes. So there's been theories that Britney's social media manager, her name is Cassie, they thought that she wrote that. And Britney has now come to Cassie's defense after the Instagram monsters have jumped all over Cassie, saying how she shouldn't be speaking for Britney and how dare you write this kind of thing about feelings that aren't yours. And Britney has now said she did write that. So
That Britney wrote it?
yeah. So Britney Spears needs to watch her own documentary.
Yeah, so there was fake news being spread?
I don't know where the story's
Wow.
going, but it's in
Yeah.
the news. Britney's talking about that, and it happened. So lots of weird things still going on with her. In fact,
Yeah.
this next headline, we're not going to talk about it here, but it says Britney Spears posts creepy skull baby photo.
I don't even want to know.
I don't even want to know. Let's move on to today's show. Brittany, watch your documentary, though.
Yeah.
Don't be upset without seeing it. That's all I got to say. On the show this week is a talented musician, somebody that I didn't even know you could play trombone on a song and still sing, but this woman has perfected it, and her name is Aubrey Logan. You might remember Aubrey from her 2009 appearance on American Idol. Simon Cowell just didn't get her, and we're going to get her reaction to that. We're going to find out about what she thought about being on the show, as well as her success in the music industry, despite what people have said it can't be done.
You know, Simon Cowell is not always right.
No, he's not. And I wondered how he got to be such a musical expert. He can't sing.
I know. That's what blows my mind. How can you pick somebody as a good singer if you don't have any background in it and can sing yourself? I just don't understand it.
I agree.
I mean, I like Simon Cowell, but it just blows my mind.
Oh yeah, his criticism is very entertaining to watch, but I don't know how he's right about music. So
Yeah.
anyway, all right. So this is Aubrey Logan, and she's here on the Fancounters Celebrity Podcast. Aubrey Logan, welcome to the Fancounters Celebrity Podcast. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, you guys. I'm so happy to be here.
You seem really, really fun, and your music and your upbeat personality. I've been looking forward to this interview all week. So thanks.
Oh man, I'm happy to be with you guys. I do have fun with music. It's some people take it very seriously. I suppose I do as well, but you kind of have to remember that you're doing something that's supposed to be artistic and beautiful. So
And
hopefully
fun.
I have a little bit of fun.
So we watched your videos a lot this week, listened to your music, had fun just learning about you. And one of the things that impressed me so much was your ability not only to play the trombone, but you're able to sing and go back and forth and do that. Like, so what kind of lung exercises did you have to do in order to keep your breath to do both things?
I started out as a singer as a kid, and obviously singing's a very natural thing, and yet also kind of a very when you start to have to do it as a performance, you're not just humming to yourself somewhere. It's actually can be worked on, I guess. And one thing that you obviously have to do is take in enough air to sing a phrase. And if you take in too much, you're going to sound forced at the end of the phrase. And if you take in too little, you won't be able to finish the phrase. Turns out the same rules apply to the trombone. So turns pretty similar. The only difference in mechanism is the the pressure from your face. so it's not actually that unnatural to change back and forth from singing to the trombone. I mean, they're both music. There's a different mechanism, but like you're still just blowing a lot of air. You know, you just got a big head and you're just.
So you know what I was waiting for? Is because she's so talented at the trombone and singing, I was waiting for her to be able to sing while she's playing the trombone, like a ventriloquist was.
It's been done. It's been done without words by some other people, not me.
Oh, really?
But it's been done.
Wow. Okay. So what age did you decide to take the trombone up?
Yeah, I was 12 years old. So I had previously been singing in a lot of musical theater productions. I might have been 13, but somewhere like that. Been in sung a lot of national anthems. I do know some baseball at Mariners games in Seattle where I'm from, and done a lot of singing. And then I picked up the trombone because all my friends were in band. I was back at school. You have to miss a lot of school to like do the theater thing, and I was back in school. And all my friends were in band, and that was a crisis of epic proportions when all your friends are in something that you're not when you're 13.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to fit in, so I just chose the trombone, obviously. So
that's pretty cool.
Well, I did play the trumpet in middle school band. I can't read music. I had to write down the fingers under every single note, so I wasn't very good.
That's why you can't read music, because
I was cheating.
You played trumpet?
Yeah.
So did I.
In your band?
Not in middle school, though. I played in high school.
Oh, my. I didn't know that about it. We've been friends for like 20 plus years. I didn't know
now
that.
you know.
Yeah.
My question is, the trumpet has a metal mouthpiece, and I've read that you play with a plastic mouthpiece, which is unusual. So give us a little education here. Why plastic over metal? Is there a difference?
I play a metal mouthpiece plenty, but is this video recorded?
We are doing, yeah.
Okay, great. So here's my plastic mouthpiece.
Oh, wow.
I have a metal mouthpiece.
Okay.
It's just back in the closet right now. But, and I use it, and I learned on it, and everybody plays on one, and I play on one. But I play on plastic a lot because it's PVC, because like I am outside at a lot of shows, and the weather matters, and plastic doesn't get cold or hot. And then I'm also singing. I sing about 80% of the show, and so when I take the trombone and put it on my face, it's cold every time I pick it up. Whereas most trombone players are playing their whole show and it's warm. So I'm always picking up a cold horn, and I need something to work for me. Because it's hard to play with beautiful sound with the cold trombone. And so that helps. And then like a lot of people, like a lot of trombone players get gold plated mouthpieces, and they'll do that because gold is softer, a softer metal.
Okay.
And like this plastic one just kind of has the same effect.
Do you notice a difference between the plastic mouthpiece and the metal mouthpiece?
Yeah, it's easier to play on.
And is there a difference? Is there a difference in sound?
Probably, and not quite as. There's probably not quite as many overtones, but like I'm playing jazz and pop. I'm like not playing classical, so who cares? Yeah.
I like jazz. Go on now.
Me too. I mean, kind of.
I'm
a jazz artist.
I'm a firm believer in things happening for a reason. And when I read your resume, like from your early years, I think that your life is kind of full of these moments, or at least that's what as an outsider looking in, that's what I'm seeing.
You're very observant.
So when you were 17, you were a semifinalist for the Montreux?
Montreux, yeah.
Ooh, that was good. Montreux
Good
Jazz Festival. But you couldn't attend because you were working on an application for a scholarship to Berklee College of Music in Boston. And it worked out for you because that scholarship application got you a full ride.
It did.
But you did have to miss the
festival. I had to
festival.
be present for it as well. It was an audition. So,
okay.
So I couldn't actually go to Switzerland. I couldn't be in two places at once, and it was a two places at once situation.
That was definitely my question, is couldn't you have just applied on the plane? But now that makes a lot of sense.
In-person audition, yeah.
A few years later, you did make it there, and you scored some great awards, the Jury Award and the Audience Award in the very same year. So I know that in your career, you've earned a lot of awards, but those kind of had to stick out as being extra special.
That one in particular was a bit of a launching pad. Yeah, I would say, and it was special. I met a lot of friends there that are still my friends. Made some audience fans that I still see, and it yeah, I guess it was a little clout when I was 21 years old.
Well, just before you won those awards, you received a golden ticket in 2009 for American Idol. Were you one of those who had to stand in line for hours to get there?
Yeah, I was. And we were, cattle called. They kind of lined up 10 people. You sing for a bunch of the producers. And then eventually they whittle you down to, okay, we're going to get you in front of the celebrity judges, Paul Abdul, Cara Dioguardi, the year I was there, Randy Jackson, and Simon Cowell. And one of them could not stand me. I'll let you guess which one that was. And
we already know.
I got a bit of whiplash those 2 months, being like utterly rejected in Hollywood. And then by all of them, because 3 of them let me through, I guess, at the audition, and then Simon Cowell didn't. But then I got majority, so I got into Hollywood, I guess. And then I got, pretty much it's a no for me, dog. Like once I got to Hollywood Week.
Aww.
Which, I mean, I look at that time in my life as like such another era of life, but it was just like what you do. If you were a singer in any school, at any college, doing anything, like playing any gigs, which I was, like you just, oh, you're gonna audition for American Idol? I guess so. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Because we all did it. And we, I learned very quickly what reality television was, and then I had way more, some more exposure to reality television throughout my time in LA. Not as a contestant on that end of it, but just like as a backup singer or like working, behind the scenes. Yeah.
Well, you did move to LA to get your career jump started, and it proved to be a little bit more difficult than you imagined because record labels didn't know how to market you. Did you understand what they meant when they said that?
Yes, I did. I understood, I think. I wasn't, I grew up listening to every genre on the face of the earth, thanks to my parents. Stevie Wonder to Beethoven to Michael Jackson to Dolly Parton, within the matter of an hour. So I didn't realize it was strange to have eclectic taste until I moved to LA. And no, not eclectic taste, but just, I understand that an audience wants something to expect. And I know that I was probably like singing jazz and then sounding funky and then looking like pop and then like changing my look all the time. And in advertising, these are big no-nos. And so record label executives, I've met with a few and a few very, very good ones. And it was like, are you rejecting me or am I walking away from what you want me to do? It was some nasty combination of the two, all the time. It just I never gave in or they're like, oh, she's too much, go, So, I never really got a record deal, but I did learn to keep doing my thing, and I didn't narrow myself by any means, but I did learn to sneak in with a few things that are a little bit consistent, and then fans will understand. And now I have fans that OGs, that have, because of them, I have these 2 things on the wall, and then it's not because of anybody but the fans, honestly. Right. So
what do you find most challenging about the music industry?
Oh gosh. Probably it's a lot of questions. That's a big question. I think the most challenging, succinct way to say this is to the world, you look very happy all the time, and that's your job. Mm-hmm. And they see the finished product, and the product is you, not your thing. However, what they don't know is the blood, sweat, tears, mishaps, and bit of fakery it takes to look like you're doing that well. And that can get somewhat lonely. Because it is quite there are no overnight successes. Oh, you got successful overnight. No, that happened over years. You just heard of them, in a quick
moment. Yeah.
And so, I think it's expectation versus reality is probably the most difficult. However, once you let that go, it's really fun.
So when you are performing, is what we see in a performance really you? I mean, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
What you're seeing in a performance, yes, it's all. But performance is about 5% of what I do.
Okay.
So yes, a
That's what we
performance
see.
is the most authentic thing you're seeing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
A dream of many artists is to when they finally can release that debut album, and that happened for you in 2017 when you released the album Impossible. So what was it like for you kind of working through your first record, from the start, and then finally you get to release it to the fans? What was that journey like for you?
A little bit anticlimactic because we worked so hard on it.
It's not the answer I was expecting.
That was Impossible. That album, any debut album is like a product of your whole life.
Yeah.
And like a sophomore album is like, oh, hurry up and follow up with something. And then like, oh, no, I got to write some songs, but I just poured my guts out on the first album. No, the second album I like a lot. But yeah, so Impossible was songs that I had written throughout like many years. And I had put them on one album over a long span of time. I had been performing all around the world before I even released it. I'm kind of old school in that way. Like I'll like try songs out on an audience before I record it.
Sure.
And then record it in a live format.
That's a good idea.
Right. Because whereas a lot of artists will like have it all be created in the studio. That's not how I typically do it. And so the process was great. We recorded a few songs, in a jazz way, like live. Some of them were recorded more pop produced. And there were 2 covers and 10 originals. And they were songs that I knew I loved, and I knew that audiences kind of loved. And I can't remember if we tried a few experiments. Probably did. Always do. Yeah. But that was how Impossible went. I worked with a good friend who produced it in Los Angeles. He really let me be me, and he just did the tech stuff, which I can't do at all. Well, and so releasing it to the fans was awesome because the fans actually funded it and pre-ordered it, and they knew the behind the scenes stuff going on before we released it, and that's how it was even made.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, and you had talked about your sophomore album and how things go with going into that, and you in 2019 you released Where the Sunshine is Expensive. Did you find that to be easier or harder when doing the follow up to your solo debut album?
Some things were easier, some things were harder. The easier parts were I knew that the fans would actually, be on board because I had seen it happen. They ended up crowdfunding it through Pledge Music, and then Pledge Music went bankrupt, and I didn't get a dime of the money we funded. So that made it a little harder. I had a small label backing me up for a little bit of the record, so that really, really helped, and he let me kind of do what I wanted. That was nice. We recorded it live, completely live over 2 days, like the 70s. So that album is like a 1976 album, and we recorded it at East West Studios, where lots of albums from the 70s were recorded. We had a live studio audience in there. I love playing live, and so that made it easier because the band was really tight. Like we had been on the road with those songs, so that was easier. There was a lot harder about it too. So, but the songs, I think are better than.
Well, you should be able to say that.
Yeah, because
I think they're better songs.
I mean,
I was a better songwriter by that point.
Well, your first one is like your debut, and you're getting learning, and you're getting feet, and then you're growing, and you come up with the next one, and you've grown from the first one. So.
I mean, and the first one will be out there forever, but no take backs. But I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
I was a better songwriter by the time I wrote the second.
Well, that second album, it's fun to read the story behind that when you say you had people that were live watching you record this because you had instructed them not to clap. Like you had to wait for the all clear, and then they could, applaud you.
It was all Dale. But yeah, they were in there, and we have video of them. So because the whole thing was filmed, so all of the music videos for the Sunshine album are on YouTube, and you can see them.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
I want to talk about some of the new songs that you have out right now. One of the newest songs is called On the Sunny Side of the Street. And I want to know how you record a song like that because it features a lot of great trombone solos. So do you record the entire music selection and then listen back as you do the vocals?
No, the whole band is in the room and we push play and we play it. It's over.
Wow.
One take. Yeah.
I didn't think that, I listened to it several times to try and pick apart if there was the sounds too close to each other where it couldn't have happened that way, but.
No, we're all in there. I mean, there's ISO booths, but we have windows. We can see each other, so it's all recorded live. Because that album or that song, On the Sunny Side of the Street, is the first single off the new album coming out in May, and it's a jazz album. So we recorded it here in Austin and pushed play, and everybody played, and it's one take.
It's
and
awesome.
The video kind of shows that I'm singing. There's a microphone. And then next to me, there's a trombone.
There it is.
Yeah. So, yeah.
The other song that you sent me that caught my attention was Dreams, because that was a Fleetwood Mac song way back in, I don't know, from the 70s or something.
Yep.
So you've really got it to where it's more... Why are you laughing at me?
From the 70s
I wasn't alive in the
something.
70s. I don't know.
I wasn't either, but
I was.
Anyway... it sounds different because I would say the first half of the song, it is just instrumental. And then you kind of come in with this very mild harmonic vocal undertone into it before you actually hear any vocals. So how did you and I have some specific covers that you've done that I want to talk about in just a minute, but how do you decide that's the direction I'm going to go, where half the song, you're not even sure that it's a cover. It sounds original. And then you're like, oh yeah, I do recognize that.
Yeah, it's an iconic melody. Everybody knows Fleetwood Mac. I wanted to do an instrumental song, and I just decided I wouldn't sing on it. And so we played it live, like trombone, piano, bass, drums, guitar, And then I go home, we listening back to that live recording. And I had been on tour with Dave Koz and Rick Braun and Gerald Albright, recently, and they're all smooth jazz artists.
Mm-hmm.
And they do a lot of instrumental tunes with background vocals. And I'm like, oh, I can slap a background vocal on this. I can slap a BGV on this and just kind of give it something. It was either that or strings,
Uh-huh.
And so the BGVs are just something to build the song. And so I just recorded those at home. And it was just kind of a post-production thing.
Okay.
Two of the songs on the album have some pretty involved background vocals. That one, which is out now as a single, and then one that'll come out in May that would be pretty crazy, but yeah.
Very awesome.
So you write, a lot of your music. Do you write one song at a time, or do you, when you're writing, do a couple of them come to you with idea, that you get ideas and you go, okay, I'm going to put this one in a different song, and then I'm going to write this one when you're trying to work on one, or do you do multiple writing at the same time?
You pretty much explained it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's it's usually more than one or and it bothers me because I like to be one at a time. I'm a one at a time person. I mean, not really. I guess I don't like to put on my pajamas until after work, or some people can do it. I don't, if I'm going to have a cocktail or a glass of wine, it can never be, I'll go to Europe and they'll drink at lunch and I'm like, nope. I work, then have the wine, not the other way, ever the other way around. So I get really upset when an idea comes and I'm writing a song and the idea is awesome, but it can't go in this song because it doesn't fit.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, so I have to put it aside and I get upset. But then usually it works out.
I can understand. I really can.
Yeah, it's the wine. No, I don't want the wine yet. It's great, but I can't have it yet.
Right. Okay.
You covered a couple of my favorite songs. This one, the first one I'll talk about is not necessarily a favorite. It's just a good song. Taylor Swift's Bad Blood. You've come up with a different arrangement for that song that it's actually better than the real version, I think. Do you hear a song and then be like, oh, I think I could arrange that better, and then that's when you record it? I mean, how is something like this born?
I don't know if it's better. It's just let's do something. Let's just turn something into jazz. That was a collaboration with Postmodern Jukebox, which is a
Yes.
wonderful group of people, large group of people, headed up by Scott Bradley, the piano player. That would be me. Sorry. Headed up. Postmodern Jukebox is headed up by Scott Bradley, the piano player, and he and I were talking, and he had asked me to come and do a song with him, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna show up to his house prepared, because they're famous and I'm gonna be on their video, and I'm gonna make sure like we do what I want. It sort of was in my head, and if Scott were hearing this, it's nothing I wouldn't say to his face. So I have said this to his face. So I go to his house and I'm like, we're doing Bad Blood, and here's the melody. And I had that, yeah. So I guess I came up with the arrangement, at least melody and bass, and then he added some different reharms, and we collaborated on it. And by that point, I had done a Macklemore cover, "Can't Hold Us."
Okay.
And so I knew, like, okay, I can take somebody rapping really fast and like turn it into jazz vocalese. And this group is outrageous. Postmodern Jukebox does outrageous things. So I'm like, okay, let's just do something outrageous. Fine, I'll do something viral. So like we did, yeah. So like Kendrick Lamar raps really fast, and then we just put a melody on it, and I put a melody on it. Scott arranged like some things, and we've made a video. And Scott's idea was to throw the trombone at me in the middle of the video so that it would get more viral power. And I'm like, you're gonna throw it from the side and I have to catch my trombone and then play it?
Oh.
And I'm like, and he's like, yeah. And I'm like, this is more important than my trombone not getting broken. Okay, fine. And so we did.
Wow.
So you did an arrangement to "You Can't Touch This" by MC Hammer, which it's amazing.
Thank you.
Do the artists ever reach out to you when they hear what you've done and compliment you?
Who has? Gloria Estefan has given me a nod on something I did with Dave Koz. She ended up singing backup on it.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
I never have heard from MC Hammer. I don't know that I've heard from Taylor Swift. I know it's happened. I'm going to have to rack my brain for who it's been, but Bootsy Collins has reached out. Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes.
Taylor Swift might be too busy writing songs about her breakups.
Maybe. I don't know.
She's a busy girl.
There you go.
Yes.
These videos that we just spoke about can be found on YouTube. And there is another one on there where you made a 10-year-old fan's night. Now, Fancounters, as you can imagine, is all about your encounters with your fans. That video, and I have a screenshot of the actual picture. Oh, you know his name still.
Edward.
Aww.
That's cool.
Because we talk on Instagram all the time. He comments on everything.
He was so excited to meet you. It was
totally
crazy.
Edward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other moments like that do you have where a fan has been enamored with you and just like blew you away? Maybe a fan moment that you'll never forget.
Well, I'm enamored with Edward.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that particular instance, we were in Birmingham, UK, and his mom brought him, and the band and I were eating pizza before the show, and they saw us as they were lining up to go to their seat. And Edward just like saw me, and he goes, and the whole band was like, and then he came up. He knew the song. He was I could see him lip syncing the songs. So I brought him up on stage because he was lip syncing the songs, and I knew he would. Yeah, he enjoyed it. We both did. It's happened since, actually. Same guy. But one fan encounter.
Yes.
Was I was still in the UK. I was in London, but we had a late show. Like ended it. We got back to the hotel at like 4 a.m, and then we had like a 6 a.m. lobby call to go to the airport. So we go to the airport. We go to Sweden. We get there. It's an early show in Sweden. I'm dead and actually pretty upset that day. I was fed up, upset, tired, and like kind of like one of those dark moments. Like, why do I do this? Why do I leave home and like spend months away from my husband just to work my butt off, and what do I even get? It was that kind of inner monologue. I get there, I'm getting through the show in Sweden, and the fans in Sweden are, let's say, polite. They're really polite. Like they clap politely.
Yeah.
Which is not, dear Swedish fans, you're awesome. But sometimes artists have, no energy given back to them when they're so polite. And so I'm like, I don't even know if they like me. And I'm just going to get through this show. And there was no way, my voice was tired from all the traveling. So I couldn't do meet and greet after, which I usually do. But I was like, I can't do it. I won't be able to sustain the tour. I get back. One part of the show, I walk off stage and play the trombone and like try and get the crowd riled up in Sweden.
Yeah.
And they're like kind of clapping. I'm like, and then I get to this one, I feel somebody grab my arm and I look and it's a young man, maybe in his 20s, maybe early 20s. And he clearly has a disability and he has a walker next to him. But he looks at me and I'm just thinking, I hate my life. He looks at me and goes, it grabs me and I am so happy. And he just says that to me right to my face as I'm out there. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I get back to the stage, I get through the show, and then I don't do the meet and greet, and a security guard comes and says, can a young man come see you? He's on a walker. I'm like, yes, he can come. Yeah. So he comes back and he said, I got on a train for 2 hours by myself to come see you. I had a really bad day, and his speech is very slurred. He's taking a long time to speak because of his disability. I later learned it's cerebral palsy. Okay. And he said, and I'm all alone, and yet I really wanted to come to your show. I did everything I could to come. It's been a really rough week and a really rough day, but you made me so happy.
That's very
And
cool.
I just went, Aubrey, you idiot. Like, Aubrey, you moron. And I basically just looked at him and I said, you know what, Axel? His name is Axel. Me too. And same. Yeah. I had a rough day and you made me happy too. And I was able to go back to Stockholm a year later and do a show at a much smaller jazz club. Yeah. And he was there.
That's cool.
He was back. And this was right before the slamdemic happened. And this is in like early March last year. And I said, I got to sell that story on the stage at the small club, and everybody was so excited. And it was just really cool.
That's very cool.
It was a much better show.
That's very cool.
See, it's another example of people coming into your life at the exact right moment. He made you happy for what you were doing again.
For sure.
You've gotten to be known throughout the world as the Queen of Sass.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I take it as a compliment. I mean, I could not, but I do because I just hope that people know that I'm trying my best not to take myself too seriously, because I've done that a lot, and I do it behind closed doors. Sure. And hopefully when I'm on stage, I can let loose and like let the hard work shine through and tell some jokes, and be a little silly and, stick it to the record label man a little bit.
Yeah.
No resentment in my heart toward that. But somebody in the UK came up with that. The Queen of Sass, of course.
You got to be able to let loose once in a while,
I try to every time I'm on stage.
That's cool.
Yep.
I'm glad you got to share some fan experiences with us. Now I want to kind of turn the table a little bit. Have you tell us about what it's like to work with some celebrities that you've had collaborations with, and those being people like Meghan Trainor, Pharrell Williams, Josh Groban, David Koz, as we mentioned before. Do you have moments to share that kind of stick in your head as memorable of people that you performed with?
Absolutely. The ones you named, Pharrell Williams, I was really dancing and, believe it or not, dancing and singing as a backup singer. They wanted singers who could move, not dancers who could sing. So all of us singers were like, we don't dance. They're like, we know, but we want you really singing, but you got to learn some choreography. It was so hard, but it was like this Grammy performance of Happy that was like this differently arranged thing. But Pharrell was so kind to everyone. He said hello to everybody. There were dancers, there were singers, There were pyrotechnics. There was everyone. Very kind. Megan Trainor is a sweetheart, and I would say, from what I've seen, which is not a lot, but from what I've seen, everything that you probably think she is, so kind. And I sang in a quartet that backed up a Christmas gig for her once with Seth MacFarlane.
Okay.
And she had remembered me. Gosh, I had sung her song at this club that she was at in LA. And she was like, yeah. And she came to the front row and started like moshing to it.
Wow. Did you realize she was down there?
That I was singing her song. Not moshing, just dancing and having a good time. And then I didn't see her for a few weeks. And she made it a point to remember me and come say hello, tell me how much she liked jazz at this Seth MacFarlane thing. So very kind person. And then working with Dave Koz is just, he's Uncle Dave. He's great. There's nobody like him. Anybody who's ever worked with him knows this. He makes everybody in the room feel like they're the only person in the room. And he's just a good guy. And he does that with the fans too. I've learned how to put on a show better because of Dave. I've learned how to care more about my audience because of Dave. And, he just puts all his pride aside and plays a great show. Sometimes we have to do that as musicians because we want to play something more sophisticated and like me, yeah. I want to, but you're not, who are you serving other than yourself? There's a time and a place for that.
Right.
Yeah.
But everybody has their own threshold, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not going to play, there's a simplicity that I won't cross, too. But like Dave just really cares about making the audience happy, and it shows in every way.
Now, when you're on stage singing that Meghan Trainor song, did you see her in the front?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You did. Okay, I wasn't sure. Sometimes
she made it a point. Yeah.
She made herself known.
And somebody knew she was there, and somebody told me.
Okay.
So I was looking for her.
That's awesome.
I like how she called it the slamdemic. That was awesome. So with that, musicians have had to figure out new ways to earn money and get their music heard. And how have you adapted through this whole thing? And do you see live performances coming back anytime soon?
I mean, I'll be the first dork on the dance floor. Yeah, and I mean, I'm doing live stream shows, obviously, which is new. Here in Austin, there's like 50% capacity at the live stream shows, like in the room.
Right.
So at least those watching from wherever in the world can hear somebody clap. I think that it's coming back. I do. I'll be there. I don't know what it'll look like, but I'll be there. And I think the live streaming could continue even when there's a jam-packed like Sardines Jazz Club. I don't think this is a negative thing because, American Bandstand in the 50s and 60s, right? Didn't people used to sit on their living room couch with their families and like watch?
You would know.
I would know. Yes. Yes.
I just think that needs to come back. So there's some good things out of this, but yeah, it's been rough. It's hard not to play for audiences. It's hard not to be able to hire a band and take them on the road because I know that I had the opportunity to do that. So it's a big, horrible chain reaction. You know.
I think the live streaming though is gonna be potentially a good thing if they market it right, because there's not everybody can go to a concert. Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. But you could make money from those people by letting them get a stream that they have to technically buy a ticket for.
Basically on demand.
And watch the concert at the same time that you're performing live. I think it's a good way to go. It's a way to generate more money. And
those live streams are becoming more and more professionally looking instead of just somebody live streaming from their phone or even, the equipment that's out there. And I'm in the video industry, so I've been doing a lot of live shows now. That's the only way I'm working right now is because I can live stream people's performances and stuff. So it's just getting better and better, though. And if it, like you said, if clubs market the tickets that you can either attend in person or virtually, it's a win-win for you and the venue.
Because your fan base can grow even more.
I'm with a platform called Veeps, Veeps.
Okay.
and that's how I'm streaming my shows for the album release tour. So we did one in March, and then we have one in April for another single, and then in May when the album comes out, we're doing it again. A noon show for Europe and an 8 p.m. show for the U.S.
Nice.
and North America, and it's been really nice to get the feedback. I know that, of course, I miss everyone. I miss seeing everybody on tour, but I do think it's only a positive that we have something else now too. And it's helpful because people can like buy one ticket and their whole family can watch, and that's fun.
Yeah.
Well, before we let you go, I want to ask you one more thing. I read that you enjoy cooking. Am I right?
You're right.
So what is the cuisine that's your favorite, and do you have a specialty dish?
Yeah, it's a ribeye.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get like this by eating celery, but like, yeah.
Us either.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm very particular about what the ribeye looks like, and where it's from, and that's important because you don't do a lot to a steak
Right.
if the steak is good.
Right.
Salt, pepper, a little bit of avocado oil, and a hot skillet on a grill outside, so you don't like wake the neighbors with your
Smoke alarm going off.
which
Yeah.
I do all the time. With just like maybe a potato and some asparagus and some wine, and that's my dish. I mean, I'll cook lots of like braised meats and chilies and Texas chili and other meats, mostly meats.
And that's
sorry if that.
And that's the important time for the wine, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Red or white?
Oh, both.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yes.
See, I'm a very strong red person.
I'm not into rosé though.
Okay.
It's like pick one.
Oh yeah, like that's the pink one, right? No, I don't drink any of the pink.
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, yeah.
Pink is definitely not a sign of a great wine.
Okay.
That's not the right color.
I did like it in Aix-en-Provence, where the south of France, where it's like originated.
Uh-huh.
It has to be there, like it.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Aubrey, throw out your website, social media handles. Let us know where we can get more information on the virtual performances.
AubreyLogan.com. It'll give you a homepage with a big old poster of my face saying, come to the show. You can click on that poster of my face. It takes you to AubreyLogan.veeps.com. And then, of course, there's a store if you want to pre-order the album, and links to everything. There's Instagram links on there, YouTube links on there, and everything like that.
Awesome. Is
Cool.
there a question out there that we should have asked you but didn't?
Oh, man. You guys are pretty thorough.
Well, we try.
Yeah. You guys are delightful. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
No. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Aubrey, so much for joining us on this week's show. We appreciate it very much.
It was awesome
Thank you.
talking to you. Thanks.
Awesome talking to you, and have a great evening, guys.
Thanks,
You
you
too.
too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Our thanks to Aubrey Logan for joining us on the show this week. She was delightful, just like her music.
She was a lot of fun.
Yeah, her videos made me so happy this week. Like, seriously, if you're in a bad mood or you're lonely because of the pandemic, I'm going to ask you about that in a second. But if you're just feeling down a little bit, turn on Aubrey Logan's music. Go to the MC Hammer You Can't Touch This cover song, and it will just make you smile. It's just she's a delightful singer and performer, and I'm very honored to have had her on the show.
Yeah, she was very, very upbeat when she was talking. I loved it. It was cool.
Now, you said, well, she mentioned slamdemic, and then you pointed that out. I love that you say that. I don't get it.
Because it was kind of slammed on us,
Oh, okay.
and shutting everything down was slammed on us. And
Gotcha. Like
Yeah.
slam the door.
yeah.
I didn't quite catch on.
Okay.
All right. If you want to comment on today's show, please go to YouTube and please post a comment on the video portion of this show. If you are just listening to it and you want to tell us about the show, email us at hello@fancounters.com. You can always go to Instagram and check us out. That's great English.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep that in there. Check us out at Fan Counters Live. And we are back next week with another celebrity guest, a younger guest.
Yeah.
Your first child actor you're
Yes.
going to interview. So hopefully
very
that
first.
will go well, and you'll go easy on him more so than your own children.
Oh, come on.
They tell me you're rather,
Well, I'm just strict.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay.
That's
Be
okay.
nice to this guy next week.
Okay. Well, he's not my kid, so it's all right.
You better be nice to him. We're back next week with a star of a Netflix show and movie, and we'll have more on that next week. You got to come back to find out who it is.
Exactly.
All right. We'll see you next Friday, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.